Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel where stories and other random things take center stage and imagination is prized above all. Welcome to today's video where I will be reviewing A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I'm super excited. So I hope you guys are having a lovely Saturday morning. So happy Saturday. I hope you guys will continue to have a fantastic day. Now let us begin with the synopsis. So there will likely be spoilers, but if there are, I'll definitely let you know when I reach it. But there will likely be spoilers here. So yeah. Anyway, Feyre will bring vengeance. Ooh. She has left the Night Court and her High Lord and is playing a deadly game of deceit. For a moment, I thought I said decent, but I read it wrong. In the Spring Court, Tamlin is making deals with the invading king, threatening to bring Prythian to its knees, and Feyre is determined to uncover his plans. But to do so, she must weave a web of lies, and one slip may spell doom not only for Feyre, but for her world as well. As mighty armies grapple for power, Feyre must decide who to trust amongst the dazzling and lethal High Lords and hunt for allies in unexpected places. But while war rages, it is her heart that will face the greatest battle. The thrilling third book in #1 New York Times best-selling fantasy series from Sarah J. Maas. Okay. I thought I was going to say something else, but okay. So, A Court of Wings and Ruin. I love it, okay? I do enjoy it. Despite some of my critiques, which my main critique, even though I give this 5 stars, is definitely the romance between Feyre and Rhysand. As much as I like it, it seems too perfect. I mean, I won't deny I've read it a couple times, but it does seem too perfect in a form where it's just like yeah. It just seems too perfect. Even when they argued over Nesta at some point, over like getting her out of the house, and they argue and she pushes him, he's like, it kind of gets resolved really quickly, where he just like, I want you to push me, I want us to be able to communicate, and they just communicate and solve things right away. Now that's great because it promotes communication. My only issue I think with the way that it's working is that basically any conflict that they have feels like it can be easily resolved. So it's too perfect, too easily resolved. It grinds me a little bit, that it's too easily resolved, and it kind of bothers me a bit. So that's like my main big critique. But overall, I really enjoyed seeing Feyre in vengeance form. I liked her taking revenge on the Spring Court. It was kind of satisfying, especially the things what she did to Ianthe, because that was great. So I'm going to kind of go into some spoilers now. I feel like they're going to be broad, but I'm going to go into some spoilers now. So if you don't want to be spoiled, this is your time to click off the video, or if you don't care, hey, watch time is also important. So, when it comes to Feyre getting revenge, it's kind of interesting. I especially like the way that the book started. We have a prologue of Rhys looking at of how the last war was, and I thought that was kind of interesting to see. And then we get a chapter where the first chapter just starts with Feyre going the painting is a lie, a bright, pretty lie. One of my more interesting things is that Feyre, I find it interesting that Feyre kind of became somewhat self-centered, or not self-centered, but she was really happy with the things that she did. So it kind of made her not. It seemed to make her not realize that things were happening. So she kind of became super egotistical for a while about her plans and how she thought of things. She was always hyping herself up she's a badass the entire time, and I'm just I can see Aelin doing this, but I don't think you can replicate Aelin's badassery with Feyre. You can do it with Bryce, because with Bryce it works, but with Feyre, it doesn't work with Feyre. It really doesn't. But I do like seeing vengeful Feyre slowly dismantling the Spring Court, and I found it kind of interesting how the way she did it with like seduction, but also like well placed lies, well placed truths, and I found it kind of interesting when it came to everything. By the way, one of the most interesting things that Tamlin said in this book is that he thinks everyone is saying, he was complimenting the painting apparently that she was making in chapter 1, and she's like, it's nowhere near done. It's still kind of a mess. And he's like, I think we all are. And I'm like, that's like the one thing I can agree with you, Talon, that everyone really is a mess. I mean, it doesn't excuse your actions about, the way that he treated Feyre, and the way that he's just allying and creating war, apparently only to get her back. And what's funny is he got mad at her for destroying his court, and basically having him lose the fact that she made it so that his people lost their trust in him, and like that they're just now leaving even to other courts because they now do not trust him. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Feyre did wrong in a way, and she even admits by the book, but at the end of the day, he also made it happen, because he could have made a different choice. Like, he could have said that, no, that he wasn't going to do some of the choices he made, but he mainly took Ianthe's side on everything that she said, such as like the time when the guard mentioned like he doesn't know, he never fell asleep before, and now he's like receiving 21 lashes for basically losing the keys and letting the Naga into the estate. And it turns out Ianthe did it, and Feyre put the memory in the guard so that he could basically rat her out, and Tamlin just took Ianthe's side without any consideration of the guards who basically trusted him with everything. And I was like, yeah, Feyre may have pushed Ianthe to make choices by taking influence, but Tamlin could have also made different choices, which suggests that Tamlin can be really easily influenced as well. At least it suggested it to me. So one of the things I liked about at the end is when she was going to leave the Spring Court, to go back to the safety of the Night Court, and she spotted Ianthe basically trying to assault Lucian. And one of the things that she did is she went into Ianthe's mind, and she had very little power to do this, because basically she was being attacked by Fabane, because they kept putting it in her food at the King of Hyburn's niece and nephew's behest. She gave it to Ianthe, and she put it in as a powder in the food. So her power has been waning, even though she was using them to try to shield everyone's minds, including her own. And turns out with the last apple she ate basically was contaminated with Fabane, and she had very little communication then with Rhys, because the words in the bond felt like that she was tearing out in the bond felt kind of less, like they were muffled when he was responding back to her and everything. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. But she used her power to basically control Ianthe, and had her use a rock to break one of her hands, and saying that made her say that made her say you're not, from now on, she's not going to assume that males want her touch just because she's a priestess or whatever, and she's not going to assume this, she's not going to touch people without their consent. And anything that will happen is that until if it is initiated by another person, and that both parties want it. And then she's like, you're not to see a healer. You're not. You can. I'm sorry. You can see a healer, but not to heal. Like to heal your hand, but not the scarring. And then the prince and princess that were basically like the king of Hybern's niece and nephew show up, and they're like, they're about to kill her after Lucian got shocked to see how she controlled her. She controlled Ianthe, and he's like, and they're like, yeah, that's a Daimati or whatever, like, and they were gonna fight her to, that's when she finds out about the whole about everything, and she basically has how she basically just explains all of this, like there's an explanation as to why Feyre's power has been waning and everything, and she fights and kills the twins, which they're twins basically, the niece and nephew are twins, and then she escapes with Lucian to the Night Court. But what's interesting is she tells Ianthe that what she's going to tell the court is that she uses her power to tell her, like, what you're going to say is that she was being tortured or something like that, and that she was going to tell that no matter what happens, she was trying, not being tortured, she was trying to do her best to stop everything happening from Hybern, and that no matter what happened, Tamlin and Ianthe did nothing, basically to sow seeds of further distrust in Tamlin's court. And Lucian, of course, was mad at her because of her deception, but not to mention like destroying the court, because Tamlin was basically her friend. And I was just like, wow, thanks. Like, everything just went insane, right? Like, it was all crazy. So it was interesting. Elaine had an interesting healing arc in this book. Turns out she's a seer. Nesta took powers in the cauldron, even though she wouldn't admit it. So that was interesting. We heard about, we see that Rhysand has been trying to do things for people, like these priestesses. He has a library that now houses these priestesses, and that is like their sanctuary, because they went through difficult stuff with males. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great, and that's cool and cute. And how now anyone who wants to enter the library has to ask for the priestess permission, which I thought was great. Another thing I really liked, I think, about this book a lot, was definitely the sister relationship. I thought was great, and meeting the other High Lords, especially Callias, who's mated to Vivian, which was one of Moore's old friends, which I thought that was amazing. What else did I like? Oh, yes. I also enjoyed Moore's monologue about her full backstory. And basically she came out as bi, which I thought was amazing, and how that became a thing. And we kind of find out the relationship between her, Cassian, and Azrael. Her, Cassian, and Azrael. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, that's it. I was just gonna go through broad spoilers. I really enjoyed it a lot. The book was awesome. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. Anyway, that's my review. Let me know what you think about this book. I think my next video will be on A Court of Frost and Starlight, but don't count on it. But I do think it is. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you're interested in more content. I post on Saturdays at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Turn on notifications so you're aware the moment I release videos. And until my next video, consume stories like A Court of Thorns and Roses. Bye!